And it is a good morning, and you're listening to Power Talks with Melody and Beth Ann in the morning, where talk is real, there is truth in the talk, and we believe there is power in the truth, and the truth will set you free. We know that without a doubt. Good morning, Melody.
And good morning, Beth. Good morning, listeners.
I'm still the one-handed paper hanger. I'm trying to do everything with one hand. I guess that's going to... Somebody told me I better get used to it, but I'm not going to get used to it. I get to see a doctor on tomorrow afternoon, to see the extent of this injury and if I'm going to need surgery or not need surgery. So that'll be a fun thing.
Well, prayers that you won't, and
thank you.
And that it all works out well for you.
Well, at my age, I've never had surgery, so I would kind of like to keep it that way. But on this day, back in 1984, the Space Shuttle Challenger astronauts Bruce McCandless II and Robert L. Stewart, they went on their first untethered spacewalk, which lasted nearly 6 hours. I didn't realize it was that long. I kind of sort of barely remember that. 1984, I was a little busy. 1984 in January, I had a little baby, and we had just lost our home in a fire in December, and we were just a little bit busy. But I do kind of remember this. And then in 1962, President John F. Kennedy imposes a full trade embargo on you-know-who, Cuba. Of course, we all know we weren't getting along with Cuba real well back then. So
I don't think people realize how close we really came.
Yeah, to the big crisis, to the ultimate.
It was very close. It was very close.
Absolutely. We were just children. We don't remember.
Yes.
I do kind of remember the parents talking about it. I do kind of remember that. But anyway, this is some good news. I just found this morning. It's coming from the Daily Caller. It says the judge rules the bake shop owner doesn't have to bake wedding cakes for the gay couple. It says a California judge ruled Monday the state couldn't force a cake shop owner to bake a cake for a gay couple's wedding, ruling that doing so would constitute a violation of free speech. And that was, Superior Court Judge David Lampe denied the state of California's request for a preliminary injunction that sought to force the bake shop owner Kathy Miller to design a wedding cake for the gay couple. It goes on to say, go ahead.
Well, that's not the one that went to the Supreme Court.
No, but this one got stopped quicker here.
Yes.
Which is telling. Whatever happened to the one in the Suprame Court?
It's still there.
I think they were supposed to have made a decision on that in the fall. Was I mistaken? Apparently I was.
Well, read about Kathy.
We don't
read
know.
about Kathy. Well,
using dossiers and memos to chase anything as important as the First Amendment. But anyway, this is a big decision. It says this is a significant victory for faith and freedom because the judge indicated in his ruling that the state cannot succeed in this case as a matter of law. No doubt the California officials will continue their persecution of Kathy, but it is clear that she has the Constitution on her side. So that's a good news, sort of, kind of. It's not good news that we even have to go down that route, but anyway, it got stopped before it went to the Supreme Court, at least at this point, juncture in the time, so we'll see what happens.
Yeah, I was just trying to get the update on that. They're to take it. This was dated June of 2016 of last year. They were supposed to get it, but has time gone that fast?
I guess. This is dated yesterday, and it came
No, not that one, about the ones that went to the Supreme Court.
You're looking at that one. Okay.
Yeah. Or maybe one of our listeners might know.
Well, the one in the Supreme Court is out of Colorado, and this apparently is California.
Right,
so,
right. Right. So I'm not sure what the...
I can't see them going any other way but in the favor of the cake baker. I really can't. But we do have Ginsburg in there. She's going to stay there because she has to fight President Donald Trump. Yeah, that's what you call nonpartisan judge. Oh, gracious.
See,
Gracious.
the ruling was supposed to, here's the date. It's dated December 4th, 2017. That's what I thought. But it doesn't say when the ruling is supposed to.
Well, here I've got one. It says the cake baking incident comes after the Supreme Court announced in June that it would hear a similar case that occurred in 2012 when a baker in Denver refused to bake a wedding cake for a gay couple. Lower courts have previously ruled that Jack Phillips, that's who that one is, the owner of the Masterpiece Cake Shop, had violated the state's accommodations law by refusing to serve. And it doesn't say when it's going to be.
I think it's supposed to be June of this year, because when that came out in December, I remember us talking about it, and I was thinking, well, how long does it take to do it?
Yeah, I mean, why does it take another 8 to 9 months? I mean, that doesn't make it. It's not having a baby; they're baking a cake.
So I don't think they've actually ruled on it yet, but you would think that this California court in their ruling would sort of have some sort of precedence, unless the gay people take it to the Supreme Court. I don't know if they can or not, but anyway, interesting.
Very interesting. So
especially out of California.
I had, I think I've lost my paper. I'll find it when we go to the break. But I was going, just kind of some things when they say stuff, it just bugs me, and I have to go and look it up. And remember what I was saying about Nancy Pelosi yesterday, that Chris Matthews says she's ethnic. Mm-hmm. Well, she is of Italian descent. I'm not sure what he means by calling her ethnic. I've lost my little paper there where I had that all typed out. But I did a little investigative reporting as best I could on, the World Wide Web. And it says that she is Italian American. She is the youngest of 6 children. She went to private schools. So, yeah, she's ethnic, and she can relate to the poor all the way through. It tells when she got married. She had 5 children of her own. Anyway, I just get a big kick out of them calling her ethnic, because I'm thinking, this woman can't relate to you and me. There's no way. And they're calling her ethnic as if she's right there with all our minorities, and she's there in their defense and all this and that, and she's coming right from where they are. And I'm thinking, why would Chris Matthews even make such a crazy statement? But all of these people, they make such stupid statements, just like Shifty Schiff. They're calling him little Adam Schiff. I'm calling him Shifty Schiff. He, you and I came up with that yesterday. He made that crazy comment about the Russians and our Second Amendment. And it's, I don't know. Melody, these people are so crazy. And, we don't see the things that are actually happening. We chase all this. Well, I take that back. This stuff is important. I'm not saying that it's not important. The fact that we have a deep state that's turning against that they're manipulating everything, not just manipulating us, but now they're after one another. There's like they're eating their own, so to speak, because I really don't think there's a whole lot of difference between some of the Republicans and most all of the Democrats. But we're chasing all this stuff and missing what's really happening.
I have a joke for you and the listeners.
A joke?
Since you brought up Nancy Pelosi, and then we'll get in some
real news.
Some real news. But this joke was called Saint Nancy.
Oh, gracious.
And and I'm going to not go into all the details. I'm going to kind of round it out just so we don't get kicked off the air and sued and everything. But last Saturday afternoon in D.C., an aide to Nancy Pelosi visited the bishop of the Catholic Cathedral in D.C., and he told the cardinal that Nancy Pelosi would be attending the next day's Mass, and asked if the cardinal would kindly point out Pelosi to the congregation and say a few words that would include calling Pelosi a saint. Cardinal replied, "No, I really can't. There are issues of conflict with the Catholic Church over some of Pelosi's views. Pelosi's aide then said, look, I'll write a check here and now for a donation of $100,000 to you if you just tell the congregation you see Pelosi as a saint. Cardinal thought about it and said, well, the church can use the money, so I'll work your request into tomorrow's sermon. As Pelosi's aide promised, Nancy Pelosi appeared for the Sunday worship and seated herself prominently at the forward left side of the center aisle. As promised, at the start of his sermon, the cardinal pointed out that Miss Pelosi was present. The cardinal went on to explain to the congregation, while Miss Pelosi's presence is probably an honor to some, the woman is not numbered among my personal favorite personages. She says some of her, and he goes and he talks about her views to the church and, calls her names and stuff like that. He's not very, he calls her all kinds of things. And he says Nancy Pelosi is the worst example of a Catholic. She married for money, is using her wealth to lie to the Americans. He goes on and on and on. She has a reputation for shirking her representative obligations both in Washington and in California. He says the woman is simply not to be trusted. The cardinal concluded, but when compared with Hillary Clinton, Miss Pelosi is a saint.
Oh, well, that was one way to get. Well, he already had his check in his hand, so
he already had the check in his hand, and he called her a saint, so he did good. So
yeah, she did attend a private Catholic school. She is supposed to be a good little Catholic girl, but yes, we know that she supports abortion and all these other things that go against the faith. Anyway, that was funny. That was funny.
What do you think of the marching orders to the Pentagon to plan a grand military parade? What do you think of that? This came out with...
I think they used to do that all the time, and then they quit doing it.
Well, there was always parades when, on a, I don't know, Memorial Day or Veterans Day or something like that. But I can't remember when there was ever a grand military parade specifically for that in D.C. So there was a meeting, and that was one of the things that came out. And he wants a parade. He was impressed. Supposedly, the news says he was impressed when he was in France for when they
their military parades. Yeah, the others
military parades. He also talked about some other countries, and when he was in French for the Bastille Day celebration in Paris, he was a guest, and he was impressed with the military tanks, the armored vehicles, the gun trucks, carriers, and everything, and so he wants to have this.
We don't want to display everything we got, do we?
I don't know. I mean, is it that important we display at all?
Well, no, I guess not. I don't mind the parades. The military band is an excellent band, and I think they get very little attention, but they are an excellent band. They have military choirs. They're excellent people at the talent. I mean, it has nothing to do with maybe our defense, but it has everything to do with the diversity of America, and pride in America, and the fact that they're not just there to learn how to shoot guns. They do other things too. And I know there was a young man in this little community that when he graduated from high school, he joined the Navy, and that's where he went, was to the Navy band. He played, I can't remember, I want to say he played the clarinet, but I'm not 100% sure what he played in the band here. We're heading into a break. I hear the music. Your calls are welcome at 717-300-1218. We will get to some news. 717-300-1218. You're listening to Melody and Beth Ann with Power Talks, and we will be right back.
Hear it first on FirstAmendmentRadio.com and FirstAmendmentRadio.net. Gold and silver is tremendously undervalued. Global demand vastly exceeds mine supply by more than 60% annually. There is little in the financial world more certain than a coming explosion in the prices of gold and silver. The U.S. dollar continues to lose value and respect as the world's reserve currency. Our nation faces challenges on many fronts, and a day doesn't pass without another economist bringing forth warnings of impending economic calamity. There has never been a better time than right now to acquire physical gold and silver. Discount Gold and Silver Trading was founded on the principles of truth and honesty. We believe in providing a quality product, quality service, and most importantly, competitive pricing. We provide all forms of precious metals, including American gold, silver, platinum, and rare investment and circulated coins. Silver bars, rounds, and 90% silver bags are on hand for the silver investor. Gold self-directed IRAs are available. Call Discount Gold and Silver Trading at 1-800-375-4188. Toll free, that's 1-800-375-4188.
Visit crosstheborder.org, CROSS, crosstheborder.org, to get your print, EPUB, or PDF version of the book, The Rapture Will Be Canceled. That's crosstheborder.org.
I know you all want answers, and believe me, so do I, and I'll do my best to get them.
Despite Nicolas Cage's promise to do his best to get left behind rapture answers for us, don't hold your breath. Not everyone believes Left Behind is true prophecy. Some may even regard as conspiratorial the mainstream re-release of the Left Behind movie with actor Nicolas Cage portraying the main character as an attempt to further reinforce in the minds of all this perception of false prophecy in order to condition the masses for the play about to begin. If you want true Bible prophecy answers, get the book, The Rapture Will Be Canceled. The author exposes the Latin rapture origin, the 7-year tribulation deception, true Bible revelation of Daniel's 70 weeks, the abomination of desolation, the restrainer, America in the Revelation, the image of the beast and the mark of the beast, and the truth about God's chosen people, and so much more about Bible prophecy. This book will shatter the Left Behind paradigm of future events. Get the book, The Rapture Will Be Canceled. Visit crosstheborder.org, CROSS, crosstheborder.org, to get your print, EPUB, or PDF version of the book, The Rapture Will Be Canceled. That's crosstheborder.org.
Years ahead of the dominant media, FirstAmendmentRadio.com and FirstAmendmentRadio.net.
And we have returned to listening to Power Talks with Melanie and Beth Ann in the morning. And the number to call here, it is a call-in show, 717-300-1218. We're encouraging new callers. If you have just want to get your voice out there, 717-300-1218. We ask you to try and stay on topic. We usually have open mic Fridays, and then you can change the topic if you'd like to. But anyway, what do you got? I had a little something I was going to go after yesterday and didn't.
Please do.
Well, it was the we're just getting into the college thing with the Princeton and their if you identify as fat.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
Oh, you still? I saw something like that. Half the world is starving, and the other half is trying to lose weight.
As they eat.
Yeah, well, it's just like the world certainly is divided.
It is, but my thing is seriously, Princeton. We complain about what these kids have to pay for college, and of course, Princeton is one of the elites, I guess. And so they're hosting a positive fat dinner, and that'll take place here in February for all those people who identify as obese or fat. That doesn't necessarily say you're fat. It's just for those who identify as fat. This is coming from Breitbart, and they like to put a little smart-aleck remarks on there. They say, well, if you weigh 120 pounds but you think you're fat, do you qualify for this dinner? Something like that. Because we know women kind of get obsessed on how many pounds over we tend to get or be, and America is. We're a healthy bunch on the whole. But what I was going to relate that to is an article that Dr. What is her name? Marilyn Singleton had written about the Women's March and the things that they think they're fighting for women. She says, why don't they get serious about what is really women's problems? one of them is obesity. One of them is, the effects of alcohol and cigarettes, the things that they don't talk about. That women are at higher risk than people like to admit with heart disease. And, a female tends to ignore some of those things. But she says instead of dwelling and vilifying themselves, use the platform to tell women to take care of themselves. She says at least 45% of cancer deaths and the top 3 causes of preventable deaths are due to things within our power to change. Smoking, obesity, drinking alcohol. She says, although smoking is the leading preventable cause of disease and death in the U.S., light smoking is increasing among women. And, of course, I happened to be at a friend's house who happens to be the wife of the local sheriff here. And he was talking about the e-cigarettes, or not e-cigarettes. What do they call those things? Is that what they call them? They're the little steam cigarette things that those are the big thing right now. And, of course, they can't sell these cigarettes, real cigarettes, I guess, in the jail, but they can sell these. And, the jail makes money because these prisoners buy cigarettes and other things that they want that's allowed, I'm saying. Anyway, I thought that was kind of comical. But this doctor was talking about why don't the women that are supposed to be all about women marching, why don't they talk about what really is affecting women rather than vilifying themselves and saying they're going to wear black here and white there and all that kind of craziness. But we know that they don't really care about women. They wore black in their, what was the Grammys? Was it the Grammys? I didn't watch. But some of them just barely wore black. Here they're supposed to be fighting the sexual assaults and harassments, and they barely have clothes on, some of them. It's like, seriously. Anyway, that was all I really had to say. I thought it was a shame that Princeton is, all the money that these kids put into college, and they host these dinners for those who host a dinner for people who identify as fat. And I thought that was kind of crazy. Anyway, we have a caller. We have Oscar. Oscar, how are you today?
Good morning, ladies. How are you?
Good morning.
Good morning. I've got a couple points that I'd like to touch. First, foremost, is about Ms. Pelosi. I wanted to ask you, what is your opinion about how much she relied on the poor and the middle class and the poor class and so forth? She makes $174,000 a year. She's worth $77 million, and she owns 3 millionaire mansions. So what is your take on that one? Do you think she really relates to the working class and to the poor people?
I don't think she does at all. I'm serious. I've never thought that. I don't think she has any clue what the rest of Americans, and nor does she care, really, other than getting votes. Does she really care? Any more than, what was the other woman's name? I can't think of her name. The black senator. I can't think of her name.
Which one?
Well, she's the one that's always playing. And she doesn't even.
To all of us.
Yeah. They keep telling me at break about how old I'm getting.
Oh, Lord. Our memories
I've got them in my head.
We get old, And there's something else I relate to say about her. She's been on the job 28 years, living at the side of the land. So you can imagine, these people, that's why they become career politicians, because it's like Melody said, it is how much money they bring into the table, and therefore they get to stay,
I remember, and this has been back a few years, and it's still the same thing, and it's the same thing in politics. When a local school, needs to hire a superintendent of the school district, they look at those who are able to know a little bit more about how to get the funding from the state and the funding from the feds. It's all about the money, and that's what it is with these senators and representatives. But they are getting richer and richer. That's what I said. If you want to know what they're really doing, ask what their net worth was before they got elected and what it is now. Senator Pelosi is filthy rich. Maxine Waters. That's who it is, Maxine Waters.
Oh, boy.
She is filthy rich. She doesn't even live in the area, in the district that she represents. There's no way that she can relate to other people in this nation because she wants to claim that she's the poor black representative, and there's no way. No way.
Absolutely not. There's another point that I'd like to touch, if I may. It's about the immigration situation, which has become the most, I believe, the biggest political issue in America now. You know, I want to tell you something that I forgot to tell you the past time that I called. Is when I was living in Virginia at the time, I just came down to Virginia from New York. Right after I saw my lawyer and I gave him a retainer and everything to fix my papers and so forth. I was working in Virginia all around in Washington, and I met a trumpet player from the Navy band, which is the Commodores, and he liked the way I played, so he said, why don't you come down and audition for the band, which I did. I went down to the headquarters, I auditioned, they loved me. They wanted to hire me, and because, you have to be able to read music, to play improvised jazz, and to play with a big band, and also they tried me as with a small combo, for small affairs and stuff. And since I also sing, they loved it. So, but when it came down, they asked me my legal status, and I told them my papers are not resolved yet. They told me, well, we cannot hire you. We cannot hire you, although we love the way you play. We love to have you. But once you get your legal status resolved, come back to see us. That is to show how much the people respect the laws of the land at the time. This is back in 1972, 1971, 1972, I believe. Not like now, that they want to make legal anybody in order to pursue vote for their political consolidation. This is, once and for all, I want to tell America, listen to me. These people are not dreamers. They're not undocumented. They're illegal aliens. Get it, will you? That's the way it is. And that's all I have to say. Thank you, ladies, for letting me talk.
Wait a minute, Oscar. Wait a minute, don't hang up. I wanted to ask you what you play. What do you play? What instrument is it that you play?
Saxophone, clarinet, flute. I play in the symphony. I have done everything that is to be done in music. Opera, club dates, shows. I used to do all the shows that came down to Florida from Broadway. I worked with the Rockettes, with the music hall, City Music Hall.
Oh, gee, the Rockettes, that goes back
twice.
Yeah.
I've done recordings. I've done everything that you can imagine is to be done in music.
Oh, wow.
I had a long career. And that's why I came to the United States, because I knew there was a field for all of that, not because I wanted to get the goodies.
I think, and we still have good musicians, but I don't think we push it like we used to. My dad was a piano tuner, and he played by ear. And he could almost sit down and play about anything. He wasn't accomplished like you are, I would say, but it, so music kind of runs through my bones a little bit, even the broken one.
You have music in your veins.
But, yeah, it does. It runs through my veins. So, and Mom had a trained voice, kind of operatic. So she didn't ever sing any opera. Well, I think she did in school, but she never sang any opera professionally or anything like that. But it did help her go through nurses training when she was getting her RN. And we didn't know that till she passed away, and we were going through some of her papers. So anyway, thank you, Oscar. Appreciate that.
Oh, thank you very much, and have a lovely day.
You too, Oscar.
I meant to mention yesterday, Melody, and I failed to on both shows. Got kind of distracted in other things. Yesterday was President Ronald Reagan's birthday. But yesterday was also my daddy's birthday. And that's what I remember on February 6th. And he used to brag about sharing the birthday with the president. But my dad's birthday was February 6th. So. Anyway, what you got next?
Well, last night the House passed a short-term spending bill to prevent the government shutdown, and it would provide new funding to the military through September. The bill's funding for the rest of the government would expire next month, so they're kicking part of it down, the can down to next month, and the rest through September. The vote was 245 to 182. The House GOP appropriators unveiled the short-term spending bill. And, of course, those are called CRs, continuing resolution. That would also fund the military at increased levels to the rest of the year, and that ends on September 30th. The rest of the government would operate under 2017 level funding through March 23rd. GOP leaders pitched the plan to the rank-and-file Republicans Monday evening at a closed-door meeting. It just always irritates me.
Yeah.
It does. It just irritates me because those are when things fly and the bribes are made. It would not fix, this measure would not provide a fix for the undocumented immigrants that were brought to the U.S. as children. And it was funny, I heard Kelly, President's chief of staff, he was talking
John
about
Kelly.
that so many, pardon?
John Kelly.
Yeah, Kelly. That so many of his, he made a statement that a lot of these DACA kids were just lazy, that they didn't get their, that they didn't go through with their citizenship. And mainstream media today was hammering his comment, how could these people find $500? It takes $500. You meet them and they go in. If you go to, when I would go to work or something, I'd see, the hard workers, they'd have the lawn mowers. They'd be at the gas station filling up their lawn mowers and thinking like that. And I'm thinking, well, those aren't children. Those are adults that are making a living. They should be able to save $500 to continue to the path to pay for their citizenship.
They send it
but
home.
they made them sound like they were still little kids that couldn't come up with $500. It cost thousands of dollars to get taken over the border. Thousands of dollars to pay the coyotes to bring them across the border. But yet they couldn't save $500 over a period of how many years that they've been in this country, and they're not babies. I mean, they're working people. How did they find the money to go to college?
Well, we're paying for some of that. But this small community has many illegals as well as legals, I would say, and probably have a few of those DACAs here. But I could go to the post office, especially on the end of the month or the first of the month, and you see a whole bunch of them in there sending
money back.
You bet they're sending their money home. So don't tell me that that's the problem. That is not the problem.
No, it isn't the problem. And it was just, please. They make it's just irritating. So anyway, this measure does not fix for the undocumented immigrants that they're trying to get through. Now, this plan still has to make it through the Senate, where maybe its future is a little less certain. But old McConnell, he says he's very optimistic that they'll be able to reach an agreement. Trump has been saying shut the government down. If they can't come to an agreement on the immigrations, he says just shut it down. He says let the government shut down.
Yep,
and,
they're trying to hold everybody hostage.
Yeah.
Even McCain, he was saying this is very important that we keep this going for the military. But nothing he was in there was for the military. It was just that they're the ones that are going to hurt if you don't pass what we're trying to tell you to pass.
Yeah.
And so he himself, who's supposed to be a proponent, a supporter of the military, is holding them hostage. He himself, John McCain, is not a hero as a senator to the United States or to Arizona. And people need to start seeing what's real here. We talk about the Democrats that are obstructionists and that are deep state. Well, I'm going to tell you what. I wouldn't be surprised if we didn't see a few of these names from the Republican side pop up on some of these memos, like John McCain and some of the others. I probably shouldn't say that out loud, but I would not be surprised in the least, because he has been a horrible, horrible obstructionist to the president since he was elected and before. Anyway,
Anything
you're right.
else?
I think that's done now.
Go, Beth, go.
I'm done. I have a pain in my elbow. We do have callers.
We do. We missed you. We have two of them. We have Joe and we have Ivan. We'll take Joe called first, so let's go to Joe in Arkansas. Hello, Joe.
Good morning, Joe.
Good morning.
What you got?
Good morning. Okay, well, what I want to talk about is I was listening to another radio show earlier today, and they had a report on a man that's running for governor of Michigan, and apparently this man is from Egypt originally. He was brought here by his father, apparently. I believe that's what they said, when he was a small boy. And he is a doctor, and he has worked and apparently he was quite an accomplished athlete, and he has worked in the public health department, I believe, of the government for quite a few years, and has a lot of things that he accomplished then that he talks about that sound like good things. He makes them sound like good things anyway that he accomplished in his work. And he's running for governor of Michigan. He's a socialist and strong believer in Sharia law, and he's a very charismatic speaker. And apparently he has a very good chance of becoming the next governor of Michigan. So I thought about that, and I thought that this is what his opponents might find something worthwhile to say about him, that he has been able to accomplish all these things. You know, he is, because of the freedom and because of the wealth and because of the opportunities given to him in America, which he probably would not have had in Egypt, he's been able to make all these remarkable accomplishments and succeed as well as he has. But he does not show any gratitude for this American system, which has given him so much. But instead, he wants to tear down this American system and replace it with Sharia law and with socialism, which do not create the freedom and the wealth and the opportunities which have enabled him to accomplish so much in America. So this, I think, would be a good thing for his opponents to point out, that he's taken great advantage of the American system, but he wants to destroy it and replace it with systems that do not create the advantages that he's enjoyed in America.
I agree 100%. You know, we see that so much of the time. You know, not everyone is like our good friend Oscar, who appreciates the United States and loves it and became a citizen of the United States. So some of them just can't wait to tear it down and make it something else that they ran away from. I mean, they wanted to take it to turn it into what they ran away from, and that makes absolutely no sense to me, Joe. Absolutely none whatsoever. But I appreciate your call.
Well,
anything else?
Well, it got to the point.
It did.
It got to the point that people have lost so much of their reason, so much of the ability to see reality, that it's the same kind of thing as people coming from California. People see how the socialists have ruined California, and they want to get away from California, go to places like Idaho and Texas, all like that. Right. But then when they get there, they vote for the same kind of Democrats that ruin California
moved away from
and made California unbearable, so they wanted to get out of there. It's like people have so often become so degraded and degenerate that they cannot, that their minds cannot reason and they cannot see the reality anymore. Live in a world of illusion.
Yep.
Big problem in the modern world.
All right.
Thanks, Joe.
Thank you, Joe.
Thank you. Goodbye.
I remember a story a customer told me 20 years ago, and her husband moved from California to New Mexico, and they were up in the mountains. They had a little acreage, and they wanted to get away from everything, and they wanted to move to a town that wasn't open 24/7 with shops and stuff and traffic and everything. And she says the first 6 months that we were there, they had plumbing problems on the weekend. And her husband got so upset because they couldn't find a plumber on the weekend. And she says, and he's just ready to, he doesn't understand why they don't have plumbers. And that's exactly what she said. She says, we moved here from California wanting something different, but yet he had difficulty adjusting to living in what they wanted. He wanted to bring California to New Mexico. And that's what Joe was saying. People come, they want to move to the new thing, and the next thing you know, they're just bringing in what they're accustomed to, what they know, and without really seeing, They slip back into their old habits, and they lose focus on the true meaning of what they were actually searching for and why they were trying to change and everything. And my question was, if you're leaving California for a particular reason, why not try to change where you're at? Become involved locally or to do something, but that's really a big task in today's world anymore.
Well, people can't sort it out, that's for sure.
Yeah, we have Ivan in Pennsylvania calling. Good morning, Ivan.
Good morning, Ivan.
Yes, good morning, ladies. How are you today?
Well, good.
I hope everybody's warm because it's snowing here. And
it's cold here.
It's cold here, too. But anyway,
not here.
Oh, be quiet.
I'm sure Melody's in the water, by the beach there, and
with her flip-flops,
soaking up the sunshine. A couple of issues. One on immigration. I mean, I can, from my own experience, say that it took us 7 years to come from Europe to the U.S. and another 5 years to become a citizen. So, if people come in and they want to be citizen in 6 months or a year or whatever, it does not compute, like I would say. But, like I say, it took us, 12 years total, from coming from Europe, waiting for 7 years in Europe, and then another 5 years here to become a citizen. So that was one thing which, people have to be, like they say, in line to get in. And even if you are in line, you had to have a guaranteed, someone had to guarantee from the U.S. that they won't be burdened to the government. So they had to, like my father would have to had a job guaranteed before we were allowed to come in.
Hey, Ivan, can you hold on? Because we're heading into break, and I want to ask a few questions, if you don't mind.
No problem.
Hang on? Can you hang on with us?
Yeah.
Okay, we're going into a break. Your calls are welcome at 717-300-1218, and we will all three be right back.
Hear it first on FirstAmendmentRadio.com and FirstAmendmentRadio.net. Since the beginning of time, kings have sought it, nations have fought for it. It has been traded, it has been borrowed, it has been purchased, it has been stolen. There's a reason for it. To secure the blessings of liberty to ourselves and to our posterity, invest with the security of gold and silver. Call Discount Gold and Silver Trading at 1-800-375-4188 or visit discountgoldandsilvertrading.net. Listen to Financial Survival with your host, Melody Cedarstrom, right here on FirstAmendmentRadio.com at 4 p.m. Eastern or 1 p.m. Pacific Time. Visit DiscountGoldandSilverTrading.net or call Discount Gold and Silver Trading at 1-800-375-4188. Toll free, 1-800-375-4188. The program you are listening to is 100% sponsored by you, the listener, on this First Amendment Rights Media channel. You will notice that there are few commercials on this radio network. There's a good reason for that. Corporate advertising dollars come with strings that limit program content. So without your help, these programs cannot continue on Internet or our several affiliates. If you benefit by the educational law programs, we ask you to give. If you are admonished or nurtured by the Bible and ministry programs, we ask you to give. If some voice a cause that you are passionate about, we ask you to give. If you believe in any of these, we ask you to support them as you would a missionary on a continual basis, as if giving a tithe for missionary radio. These programs are not commercially viable and must be supported by those faithful to the cause of truth. Look for the button to sponsor your favorite programs at our listen and schedule pages on the Internet. Then, when you subscribe, we will send you the last quarterly MP3 CD of that program immediately, and continue to do so with each new quarter. We will also give you unlimited archive access to all of our programs. we're asking you to give much less than a tithe so that you may also send support directly to a particular program host, cause, and anywhere else the Spirit may lead you. Do all to the glory of our God and Creator, for His holy nation, the only kingdom that will last forever. Thank you for listening. Hear it first on FirstAmendmentRadio.com and FirstAmendmentRadio.net.
Ivan, I wanted to ask, because it took you 12 years, do you think that we could do something to improve that? Because I'm willing to think that we could do something to shorten that span. We don't want to make, instant amnesty or instant citizenship, but something that could shorten it and not make it quite that burdensome through the years.
Well, it depends on one. I agree. It was a question of getting someone to vouch for you with a job, like for my father, and that would have cut the 7 years to maybe 2 or 3 years. Now the 5 years was mandatory. You could not jump ahead or whatever in line, but you had to be 5 years in the U.S. Now, I don't know if it's still the same now, but this is in 50s I'm talking about, and late 50s, early 60s. And that's where the 5 years was, so you couldn't cut it down. But in 7 years, you could cut out back to a year or two. If you had somebody here, let's say you had
a sponsor, so to speak.
A sponsor, right? Either that, or if you had some family who was here, let's say they came in 1920s or whatever, and you had some relations, with the people. So that could have expedited it, from 7, let's say, to 2 years or 3 years. But once you came here, then you had to wait 5 years to get citizenship.
So, and what all was that entailing in that 5 years? Was that because they wanted to make sure you had steady residency and jobs, or I know you had to go through studying.
There was just a law that you could not become citizen earlier than 5 years. So, we in fact, what happened is we supposed to have gone to North Dakota. And my father, the person who vouched for him, we came to New York, and he say, no, I don't need anybody. So, but at least we were already in the States, so they couldn't ship us back to Europe. But so we ended up in Connecticut. Someone vouched for us there, and for my father's job, and that's how it started. So we. From North Dakota, which I'm glad that, because it's quite cold up there from what I hear.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, compared to even Pennsylvania, but Connecticut is where we ended up, and that's how we started.
Okay.
And the other thing I wanted to mention, what was it? The one item which I was listening to Press TV. And they were talking about that Israel wants to build a wall on Lebanese borders to protect, to take oil and gas resources from on the Lebanese borders. So they want to build a wall on the Lebanese soil, and they said no way. So there is a possibility of some friction starting there.
Wow.
And the other thing is they did fire some missiles. They were all flying over Lebanese airspace, and they fired at Damascus missiles at a base near Damascus to destroy some ammunition or whatever. So
everything seems to be volatile right now, doesn't it?
It is, yeah. And in particular, Middle East is very volatile, and that's where the whole cauldron is, the witch's cauldron, where it's being centered, So.
Right. All right. Well, Ivan, thank you. Thank you for calling and giving me a little education on things. Appreciate it.
Oh, you're welcome. Yeah. Okay. Have a nice day. Enjoy, ladies.
All right.
And keep warm.
Thank you.
We're trying.
Thanks, Ivan.
Thank you, Ivan. We've got a cold snap here. They're talking about some more wintry mixed weather maybe this evening, and or not this evening, but more on Sunday. We kind of missed out on the worst of it here in mid-Missouri, but where I am in this county. But some of them got a little bit more. But it's cold outside, that's for sure.
Oh.
It is winter, I guess. It's still February. Oh, stop it. She sits there in her flip-flops.
Oh, it's cold today. We're actually, I think our high today is going to be 50-something. So, brr. Anyway, what else do we have today that...
I don't know. I'm kind of mad at you right now. Oh. Go back to the memo. I'm just teasing. I'm not mad at her. Going back to the memo, of course, now the Democrats have the memo. They have a memo, too. You got a memo, I want a memo. And they have Schiff. Of course, Melody and I named him Shifty. And this is Shifty, what he has done. They have put some things in this Democrat memo that is touchy regarding national security. And then they dare the president to restrict any of it. And if he does, they're going to call for, I'm sure, impeachment. They do that on every turn. If he breathes wrong, they call for impeachment, obstruction of the First Amendment and justice and all this good stuff. But they have literally put stuff in there that they know he's going to have to redact or mark out. And I got a big kick out of Judge Napolitano because he's like double dog daring them. He says Trump should release the memo as is and just send the intelligence community into a tither. Through the roof, he said. Just send them through the roof. Go ahead and do what the Democrats want and send the intelligent into the roof, But it's, through the roof. I'm sorry. Can't get my sayings correct. It's a game that they're playing. And if you think that they care about the security of anybody here in the United States of America or anybody that's in, when we're talking about the intelligence community, the people it'll put in danger aren't those that are here at the top playing politics. So anyway, the Democrats' shifty shift is playing a game that can get pretty serious here pretty quick. But they're all kind of on the line here because they've all been involved in something that's pretty scary. That they do this to get their power and keep their power and use the FISA. Like you said, they had passed that FISA again, renewed it here a few weeks ago. I think Rand Paul was against that. I think they should have put it on hold until they got all this stuff sorted out. But that's just me. So,
well, anyway. I guess there was an update on the Washington Times. It was this morning after we started the program, and I guess a new batch of these text messages between the FBI officials, Sturzak and his girlfriend revealed Obama wanted the updates on the Bureau's investigation into Hillary. So, and again, it's the same thing that we heard about the memo last week. We already know all this, Well,
this is additional. These is additional. Naming.
Yes.
This is additional, and there's more to come.
Yes.
These are those texts that the FBI lost.
Yes.
And now they're found, and they actually mentioned POTUS wants to know everything we're doing.
Yes.
And POTUS at that moment was President Barack Obama.
That is correct.
I have no doubt that he was well informed as to what was going on.
Of course he was.
Not only with Hillary's emails, but which is what this is discussing, but also with this collusion to go against President Donald Trump. I have no doubt.
Well, we're out of time. I hear the music beginning to start already. And, the only thing that always puzzled me was if Deep State wanted Hillary to be president, why did Comey reopen that investigation so close to the election, which almost guaranteed Trump's win?
Well, yes and no. I agree with that. I've often wondered that too, and we'll just have to talk about that tomorrow because we're out of time today. We'll have to remember. You've been listening to Power Talks with Melody and Beth, and we thank Oscar and Joe and Ivan for giving us a call today, and we hope that you have a day full of freedom and blessings, and we'll be back tomorrow.
Visit crosstheborder.org, crosstheborder.org, to get your print, EPUB, or PDF version of Nicholas Arthur's new book titled When the Third Temple is Built. That's crosstheborder.org. When it comes to prophecy today, much of the evangelical Christian world has their eyes on Israel, waiting and watching to see when the third temple will begin to be built. The plans are drawn, the Jewish people are eager. Most evangelical Christians today believe that the rapture will happen before the third temple is built. Hi, I'm Michael Eugene. I was taught that Daniel's 70th week was in the future. Is that really what the Bible teaches? Have we searched the scriptures and found this to be true? Why is it so important for a re-established Israel to build a third temple in Jerusalem? Is it necessary to build a temple on the same location already occupied by the Dome of the Rock? Is it necessary for sacrifices to take place in the temple on Temple Mount? Is there really a rapture followed by 7 years of tribulation? What is the New Testament temple? Can we identify history and prophecy? Who is the first beast in Revelation chapter 13? Who are the 7 kings in Revelation 17? I have asked all these questions, and I have found Nicholas Arthur's new book, When the Third Temple is Built, answers all these questions and more using Scripture to interpret Scripture. The Bible says that no prophecy of Scripture is of any private interpretation. Nicholas shows us in his new book, When the Third Temple is Built, how the Bible interprets prophecy and not man's private interpretation. Visit crosstheborder.org, crosstheborder.org, to get your print, EPUB, or PDF version of Nicholas Arthur's new book titled When the Third Temple is Built. That's crosstheborder.org.
The book of Revelation says, the spirit of prophecy is the testimony of Jesus Christ. This is at the very heart of FirstAmendmentRadio.com. In that spirit, we have created the Prophecy Reality News app for all of your mobile devices, streaming First Amendment Radio 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Available for your Apple, Android device, and smartphone, absolutely free. Get the Prophecy Reality News app installed today, so you can listen to First Amendment Radio wherever you are. The Prophecy Reality News app. Get it now.
Since the beginning of time, kings have sought it, nations have fought for it. It has been traded, it has been borrowed, it has been purchased, it has been stolen. There's a reason for it. To secure the blessings of liberty to ourselves and to our posterity. Invest with the security of gold and silver. Call Discount Gold and Silver Trading at 1-800-375-4188 or visit discountgoldandsilvertrading.net. Listen to Financial Survival with your host Melody Cedarstrom right here on FirstAmendmentRadio.com at 4 p.m. Eastern or 1 p.m. Pacific Time. Visit discountgoldandsilvertrading.net or call Discount Gold and Silver Trading at 1-800-375-4188. Toll free 1-800-375-4188.